You have carried this feeling for as long as you can remember. The quiet certainty that you don't quite fit into the rhythm of the world around you. Not because you are better, not because you are above, but because you feel more, deeper, further, louder on the inside. From an early age, you sensed what others overlooked. The pauses between words, the tension behind smiles, the sadness hiding inside laughter. While others moved quickly through life, you lingered, absorbing, noticing, remembering. And somewhere along the way, you began to wonder, why do I feel different from everyone else? This difference is not accidental. In the psychology of Carl Jung, emotional depth is not a personality flaw. It is a sign of a soul that perceives beyond the surface. Jung believed that some individuals are born with a thinner boundary between the conscious and the unconscious. They feel life more intensely because they are closer to its raw material. You don't just experience events, you experience meaning. While others move on quickly, you reflect. While others protect themselves with emotional shortcuts, you enter situations fully, even when it costs you something. You don't skim life, you dive into it. And that depth often made you feel lonely, misunderstood, even misplaced. People may have told you that you are too sensitive. But what they really meant was, you see what we try to avoid. Emotional depth is not about constant intensity. It's about presence, about being fully awake in moments others numb themselves through distraction. When you love with your whole being. When you are hurt, it reaches layers others never touch. And because of this, relationships have never felt casual to you. You instinctively seek truth, not comfort. Jung wrote that what is rare often feels isolated before it is understood. And emotional depth is rare. It cannot be mass-produced, copied, or performed. It is formed through introspection, pain, awareness, and courage. The courage to remain open in a world that rewards emotional distance. This is why you often feel irreplaceable after you are gone. People may not recognize your value immediately, but your absence echoes. Because once someone has been truly seen, truly felt, they can never fully return to emotional shallowness. Your presence leaves a mark, not through noise, but through resonance. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to be felt. And this is only the beginning of understanding why your emotional depth is not a burden, but a quiet power that makes you unforgettable. Because of this depth, you have always felt slightly out of step with the world. Conversations that skim the surface tire you. Small talk feels empty. You crave something else, connection that moves you, words that reveal truth, silence that feels alive rather than awkward. And when you don't find it, you retreat inward, not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. This is where many misunderstand you. They think you are distant, guarded, hard to read. In reality, you are selective. Your inner world is rich, complex, and sensitive to intrusion. You learned early that not everyone knows how to enter it with care. So you developed an instinct, almost unconscious, to protect what is sacred in you. In Jung's view, people with emotional depth are often oriented toward the inner life. They live closer to symbols, feelings, and meaning than to appearances. This is why you think at night, why memories stay with you, why music, words, and moments can suddenly open something inside your chest. You don't just remember experiences, you relive them. And because of this, you don't attach easily. But when you do, you attach fully. This is also why loss affects you differently. When someone leaves your life, they don't just disappear from your routine, they leave an imprint on your psyche. You grieve not only the person, but the shared inner space that existed between you. Others may move on. You integrate. You transform. Jung believed that transformation is born through feeling, not avoidance. And you have always been someone who allows feelings to change you. Pain does not harden you, it deepens you. Disappointment does not close your heart, it clarifies it. This is why people often come to you for understanding, even if they don't fully understand you. They sense something grounding in your presence. something that listens without judgment, something that sees beyond masks. You carry emotional intelligence that cannot be learned quickly because it is earned through lived experience. And yet, this gift has also been heavy. You have likely asked yourself why relationships feel uneven, why you give more than you receive, why you seem to hold space for others while no one quite holds space for you. Emotional depth attracts those who need depth, but are not always capable of meeting it. This is not a punishment. It is a signal. You are not meant to pour yourself into every connection. You are meant to be recognized. Emotional depth does not exist to be consumed. It exists to be mirrored. And until it is met, it will always feel like something is missing. But understand this, your depth is not invisible. It is simply not visible to everyone. And those who truly see it, those who feel something shift when they are near you, they never forget you. Because once someone encounters real emotional presence, it quietly redefines what connection means. Your difference is not isolation. It is preparation. Over time, you began to notice a pattern. You are rarely the one people forget, but often the one they don't know how to keep. Your presence awakens something in others. Not always comfort. Sometimes awareness. Sometimes longing. Sometimes an unease they cannot explain. Emotional depth has that effect. It brings people closer to themselves, and not everyone is ready for that encounter. As Carl Jung observed, when we meet someone who carries qualities we have not integrated within ourselves, the psyche reacts strongly. Some feel drawn. Others feel threatened. Depth mirrors what is unresolved. That is why some people admire you quietly but keep their distance. Why some are magnetized to you but cannot stay consistent. Why others try to diminish what they cannot comprehend. You don't just connect, you expose. Not intentionally, not aggressively, but naturally. Your questions go deeper. Your silence holds weight. Your emotional honesty disrupts comfortable illusions. And for someone who lives on the surface, that disruption feels dangerous. So they retreat, or they take without giving back. And for a long time, you wondered if this meant something was wrong with you. It isn't. Your nervous system is tuned differently. You register subtleties, shifts in tone, energy, intention that others miss. This is why you often sense when something is changing before words appear. Why you feel dissonance even when everything looks fine. Your intuition speaks early because it is fed by depth. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is awareness. But awareness requires discernment. Emotional depth without boundaries leads to exhaustion. You learn this the hard way, by giving too much, by staying too long, by hoping others would eventually meet you where you already lived. Jung warned that when depth is not honored, it turns inward as self-doubt. You may have internalized the idea that you are too much, too intense, too emotional, too serious. But what you were really experiencing was being undermet. Depth does not need to shrink. It needs resonance. When you stop trying to be understood by everyone, something shifts. You begin to recognize those who move at your pace, who don't rush intimacy, who respect silence, who don't fear emotional truth. They are fewer, but they are real. And when connection finally happens at that level, it feels unmistakable, calm, grounded, mutual. There is no need to explain yourself constantly. No need to dilute your feelings. No need to perform. This is when you realize your difference was never a flaw. It was a filter, and it has been quietly protecting you all along. There is a moment that comes quietly, almost without announcement, when you stop asking what is wrong with you. You begin to sense that your depth was never meant to be explained, only lived. This is where maturity enters. You realize that emotional depth is not a personality trait you must justify, soften, or hide. It is an inner architecture, a way your psyche is built. In Jung's view, individuals like you are often closer to the process of individuation, the lifelong unfolding of the true self. You were never meant to dissolve into the collective rhythm. You were meant to listen inward and shape your life from there. This is why you often feel older than your age. why you intuit lessons before life fully teaches them, why superficial success never truly satisfies you. You are guided less by noise and more by meaning. As you grow into this understanding, something changes in how you relate to others. You stop over-explaining your feelings. You stop proving your sensitivity has value. You stop chasing emotional availability where it does not exist. Not because you have hardened, but because you have become precise. Depth, when integrated, becomes discernment. You begin to notice that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Some people are meant to meet you only at the surface, not as a punishment, but as a natural limit. And when you respect this limit, your energy returns to you. You feel less drained, less confused, less divided. This is when your presence becomes even more powerful. Because emotional depth that is no longer seeking validation carries a quiet authority. You listen differently. You speak less, but with weight. You are no longer reactive, you are responsive. And people feel this shift, even if they cannot name it. Those who are shallow drift away. Those who are curious draw closer. Those who are ready recognize you immediately. Jung believed that when a person lives in alignment with their inner truth, they unconsciously invite others to do the same. Your depth becomes permission, not through teaching, but through example. You show what it looks like to be emotionally awake without being overwhelmed by emotion. And perhaps the most surprising realization comes here. Your depth no longer isolates you. It anchors you. You stand firmly within yourself, no longer apologizing for the way you feel, the way you perceive, the way you love. You understand now that emotional depth is not meant to be scattered, it is meant to be rooted. And from that rooted place, something rare grows. A presence that cannot be replaced because it does not imitate anyone else. This is how your difference becomes your strength. With time, you begin to notice something subtle but profound. Your emotional depth no longer asks to be understood, it simply is. You stop waiting for others to meet you at the level of your feelings. You stop hoping someone will finally get it. Instead, you become fluent in yourself. You recognize your emotional states not as problems to solve, but as signals to honor. Sadness becomes information. Joy becomes guidance. Stillness becomes clarity. This is where your inner authority forms. In Jung's understanding, when a person stops projecting their inner world outward, seeking mirrors everywhere, they reclaim psychic energy. And you feel this shift as a quiet strengthening. You are no longer fragmented between what you feel and how you present yourself. You become integrated. This integration changes your relationships dramatically. You no longer chase intensity for the sake of feeling alive. You no longer confuse emotional turbulence with connection. What once pulled you in now feels loud, unstable, draining. Your nervous system chooses calm not because it is boring, but because it is honest. Depth recognizes depth. You begin to sense immediately who is emotionally present and who is emotionally performative, who listens to respond and who listens to understand, who wants closeness and who wants consumption. And for the first time, you trust what you sense without second-guessing yourself. This trust is everything. It allows you to step back without guilt, to say no without explanation, to remain silent without fear of abandonment. Emotional depth, once owned, no longer begs for reassurance. It becomes self-contained, and something unexpected happens here. People start to lean toward you differently. They feel calmer around you, more grounded, less rushed. Your presence doesn't demand, it regulates. You become a point of emotional gravity, not because you try, but because you are no longer leaking energy. This is the stage where you understand why you were always different. You were being trained, quietly, to hold space without losing yourself, to feel deeply without drowning, to love without disappearing. And this capacity is rare because it requires both sensitivity and strength. You were never meant to belong everywhere. You were meant to belong fully, where depth is welcomed, not questioned. And from this place, you no longer fear being irreplaceable. You simply live in a way that makes imitation impossible. At this stage, something inside you settles, not into resignation, but into recognition. You begin to understand that your emotional depth was never meant to make life easier. It was meant to make life truer. And truth, as you've learned, often asks for patience, for solitude, for the willingness to walk without immediate confirmation. You stop forcing connections to become what they are not. You stop translating yourself into simpler language. You stop shrinking moments that matter to you. This is where self-respect quietly replaces longing. You no longer feel the need to explain why certain things affect you deeply, why words linger, why energy matters, why inconsistency unsettles you. You understand now that depth comes with a finely tuned inner compass, and ignoring it is what once caused you pain. In Jung's view, the psyche suffers when we betray our own nature. And you did that for a long time, not out of weakness, but out of hope. Hope that others would eventually meet you where you already were. Hope that patience would be rewarded. Hope that love would deepen if you waited long enough. But now you know better. Depth does not wait to be chosen. It chooses itself. You become more protective of your inner world, but not closed. Softer, but clearer. Open, but no longer porous. You allow people to show you who they are, without filling in the gaps for them, without romanticizing potential, without carrying emotional weight that is not yours. And this changes everything, because emotional depth paired with self-trust becomes unmistakable. People sense it immediately. Not everyone stays, but those who do arrive differently, slower, more present, more real. You notice that connection no longer feels urgent. It feels aligned. You are no longer pulled toward intensity for validation. You are drawn to steadiness, mutual awareness, shared emotional responsibility. And in this shift, your nervous system relaxes. Your heart feels safer, not because others have changed, but because you have. This is the quiet power of emotional depth matured. You no longer fear being misunderstood, because you no longer abandon yourself to be understood. You no longer fear being alone, because your inner world has become a place of companionship rather than conflict. And in this grounded state, something becomes undeniable. You were never meant to be common. Your depth was shaping you for a life and connections that could actually hold you. There is a quiet dignity that settles into you now. Not pride, not superiority, but an unshakable sense of inner alignment. You no longer rush to fill silence. You no longer fear emotional pauses. You understand that what is real does not require constant reassurance. And this understanding changes how others experience you. Your emotional depth begins to feel contained, no longer spilling outward, no longer searching for a place to land. It lives inside you like a steady flame, warm, present, self-sustaining. This is when people start responding to you differently. They speak more carefully. They listen more closely. They feel seen, sometimes for the first time, simply by being near you. Not because you analyze them, but because your presence invites honesty. And honesty is rare. As Carl Jung observed, when a person integrates their inner world, they become a mirror. Not a flattering one, a truthful one. And not everyone is comfortable standing in front of that mirror. Some turn away. Some grow quiet. Some suddenly reveal parts of themselves they didn't plan to show. You learn not to take this personally. Your depth is not demanding anything from them. It is simply revealing. And revelation always produces choice. Stay and grow, or retreat and remain the same. This is why you stop chasing closeness. You allow it. You notice who meets your gaze without flinching, who stays present when things become real, who does not rush to change the subject when emotions surface. These people feel different to you immediately. There is ease, mutual respect, emotional rhythm. You also notice who disappears when depth appears, who becomes inconsistent, who offers distraction instead of connection. And instead of questioning yourself, you simply note the difference. Discernment has replaced confusion. Jung believed that psychological maturity is marked by the ability to tolerate complexity without escaping it. And you have learned to do exactly that, within yourself and with others. You no longer need simple answers or dramatic gestures. You trust slow clarity. This trust allows you to stand firmly in your own emotional reality. You don't dilute it to make others comfortable. You don't dramatize it to be noticed. You let it exist, quietly, honestly. And this is what makes you irreplaceable. Not the intensity, not the sensitivity alone, but the combination of depth and self-possession. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are present, and that presence changes the room. What changes most at this point is not how others see you, but how you experience yourself. You no longer scan rooms for emotional cues to adjust to. You no longer anticipate reactions in order to soften your truth. You allow yourself to exist without editing. And this internal permission brings a kind of relief you didn't know you were missing. You begin to feel whole. Your emotions still run deep, but they are no longer chaotic. They move with intention. You understand them, not as storms, but as currents. You let them pass through you without losing your center. This is emotional mastery, not control, but cooperation. In Jung's language, this is the moment when the ego stops fighting the soul. You stop asking life to make sense immediately. You allow experiences to unfold without forcing meaning too quickly. You trust that understanding will come, not from urgency, but from integration. And because of this, you become patient in a way that feels grounded, not resigned. People sense this. They feel that you are not seeking anything from them. Not approval, not validation, not emotional rescue. You are simply present. And presence without hunger is rare. It creates a different dynamic. Others either rise into authenticity or fall away naturally. You don't cling to either outcome. This is when relationships stop being lessons and start becoming choices. You choose conversations that nourish instead of drain. You choose environments that feel aligned instead of impressive. You choose people who are emotionally accountable, not perfect, but honest. And with each choice, your nervous system confirms, this is right. Depth, when honored, becomes peace. You no longer feel compelled to prove how much you feel. Those who recognize it immediately. Those who don't, were never meant to access it. And this clarity removes the old ache, the sense of being unseen. You are seen now, by yourself. And from that place, connection stops being a question of worth and becomes a question of compatibility. Not everyone can meet you here, but you no longer need them to. Your emotional depth has stopped asking for space. It has become the space. And in that space, you finally feel at home. Now comes the most delicate shift of all. You stop defining yourself through difference. For so long, feeling different was something you carried consciously, like a quiet question mark attached to your identity. But now, that difference dissolves into something simpler and stronger, authentic presence. You no longer compare your inner world to anyone else's. You no longer measure depth against surface. You just live from where you are. And that changes the tone of everything. You notice that life responds differently when you stop trying to be understood and start being embodied. Your choices become quieter but more precise. You say less, yet nothing feels unsaid. You walk away sooner, not from fear, but from clarity. This is where emotional depth becomes wisdom. Jung spoke about the danger of identifying too strongly with one's uniqueness. True integration, he believed, happens when the individual no longer needs to defend or explain who they are. And this is exactly where you arrive. You don't cling to depth as an identity. You allow it to inform your way of being. You stop waiting for emotional recognition as proof of connection. You recognize connection by how safe you feel inside it. You notice how quickly your body reacts now, how calm feels like truth, how tension feels like information. You don't override these signals anymore. You listen, and because you listen, you protect yourself without hardening. This is the paradox of your nature. The deeper you go into yourself, the lighter life feels. You are no longer defined by longing or searching. You don't ache for someone to meet you. You allow meeting to happen or not happen, without self-betrayal. And this neutrality is not indifference. It is grounded self-respect. People who encounter you at this stage feel something they can't quite describe. There is no pull, no chase, no emotional drama. And yet, you linger in their awareness. Because you are not trying to be memorable. You are coherent. Your words align with your energy. Your silence aligns with your values. Your presence aligns with your inner world. And alignment is rare. It is felt immediately. This is when you understand the final truth about your emotional depth. It was never meant to set you apart. It was meant to bring you home. And now, as this journey comes to its quiet close, you can feel the difference in how these words land inside you. Not as an explanation, not as persuasion, but as recognition. You no longer need to ask why you feel different from everyone else. You understand now that your emotional depth was never a deviation, it was a direction. In the language of Carl Jung, this is the return to the self. The moment when you stop fragmenting who you are in order to belong and begin living as a whole being. Not perfectly, not loudly, but truthfully. You were shaped to feel deeply so you could live consciously. You were shaped to sense more so you could choose wisely. You were shaped to experience life fully, not efficiently. And yes, this path has been lonely at times. You have stood in rooms where no one spoke your language. You have loved where depth was not reciprocated. You have carried insight where others carried certainty. But every step refined you. Every disappointment clarified you. Every misunderstanding strengthened your inner alignment. You are no longer searching for a place to fit. You are the place. Your emotional depth is no longer something you defend or hide. It is simply how you move through the world with awareness, discernment, and quiet strength. And that is what makes you irreplaceable. Not because you demand attention, but because you leave resonance behind you. Some will feel it and grow. Some will feel it and retreat. Both are answers, and you are at peace with that now. Because you finally know this truth, not intellectually, but somatically, in your breath, your posture, your choices. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be deeply known by yourself and truly met by a few. And from this place, you don't chase connection. You allow it. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of living it from the inside out.